Alright, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Texas Chainsaw 2013. This is going to be another slasher flick based upon entirely on the character Leatherface. It kind of reminds me of Ed Gein. Uh, yeah, I told this story before to Audra Hando, but one night the Aquarius Theater in Palo Alto, close to Stanford, was playing Texas Chainsaw Massacre in one theater at the same time they were playing Full Metal Jacket in the other theater. They're kind of side by side to each other. And so my punk friend, who was in the band Spaz, he was a singer. His name was Dan. He wasn't really my friend, but he was a friend of a friend, so to speak. Yeah. We used to hang out at Chuck's Donuts in Redwood City. Okay, so Dan and his friends went to go see Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was a pretty trendy cult film from 1974. I've seen it before. It's not really gory or anything. It's just kind of scary. Leatherface looks really scary in that one, and then the ending is kind of goofy with the cannibal scene. So you see beginning clips of that in this movie. They kind of recycled the first movie just to give you an idea of all the kills in the first movie, and then it shows what happened after the Blondie 70s babe escaped from Leatherface. Um, the vigilante townfolk burned down the house and shot all the Sawyers. At least that's the perception you get from watching the beginning of the movie, which is kind of like the end of the first movie, or the extended ending of the first movie. But one of the babies manages to live through it. So she's grown up now. She's like, it doesn't make sense because the dates are way off, because you're talking 1974 to 2013. I mean, the girl doesn't look like she's 40 years old, okay? So that's a little bit of a continuity problem. She looks like she's about 20 or 18, or 18 or 20 tops. And none of the actors I recognize in this movie, unfortunately, R. Lee Ermey didn't return in this one. Just, like I said, the only one who survived is Leatherface, or Jed, they call him, the retard guy. And they don't explain how he escaped from the fire and all the gunshots. It's like a Branch Davidian episode or something. Another part I didn't understand was why does the black cop let Leatherface continue to maul people? It's almost like they got some kind of special deal going on that nobody knows about. It just made the movie even more weird. I've seen parts of the first movie. I don't know if I've seen the entire thing. I probably have seen the entire thing, just because my ex-wife loved it so much. and my friend Dan loved it. He saw it on the big screen there in Palo Alto. Um, I saw Texas Chainsaw the beginning with my wife, or with my first wife, I should say, back in 2006. We went to 3 movie theaters, saw 3 different movies, 3 different movie theaters. We were going to go on a 4th movie theater, but she was tired and I couldn't find the dang mall theater there in San Jose. So we kind of gave up because we were going to miss the movie anyway, just driving around looking for the place. Plus my first wife was complaining that it was too much. So that was a great movie too. I love this movie, by the way. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 stars. It got bad reviews, just like the prequel, but which is why I wanted to see it. I like watching bad horror movies, especially sequels to popular cult movies, like for instance Amityville. Yeah, the Amityville sequels are better than the original, I think. Although I haven't seen the original, so can't really say, but they're just weird and way out there. Like Leatherface has got women's makeup in his little dungeon. He's like castle freak. They lock him up downstairs like a monster, and so the daughter is all grown up now. She's a 20-year-old, 40-year-old, and she gets the inheritance to the Sawyer estate, which is some mansion. Unclear how how it got burned to the ground, and then they built a mansion for Jed to live in, the dungeon. That doesn't make any sense. And if Jed is the only survivor, who paid for the mansion? And who is this mysterious person who bequeathed the estate in the first place? Her relationship to the family was a little bit unclear. So this 20-year-old gal who's supposed to be 40 years old instead, she works at a grocery store that cuts up meat. She's like a butcher, like what my cousin did after he graduated from high school, before he went to the Air Force to fight in Afghanistan, another useless war. So she's doing that. She's kind of sick of her life there, wherever she is. So she wants to go to Texas to this big mansion. She brings all her friends. They're in awe of all the wealth. Unclear how the family acquired all this wealth, seeing as how almost all of them are dead except for Jeb and this mysterious lady who dies and gives the estate to her. This movie is just nuts. I knew I was going to love this movie because everybody else hated it, or a lot of people hated it. And it's a horror flick. It's part of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series. I think I've seen the sequel and the prequel, and this is kind of like the half sequel or a continuation of the original. Kind of like a sequel, I guess. I guess I saw the remake and the prequel, I should say. It's all very confusing. And you thought this movie was so bad that they wouldn't make another one. You're wrong. They're coming out with Leatherface, which is just going to be a movie about Leatherface again, same as this one. they're just going to milk this forever like Rambo. Anyways, getting back to the story. So Leatherface, one of the hitchhikers, this buff guy, he's like trying to steal all the silver and stuff. Unfortunately, he has the keys, and he opens up Leatherface's dungeon. So Leatherface promptly dispatches him, and they do a lot of cheap kind of scare things where it's really quiet, and then they jack up the volume. They use that trick in The Exorcist too, when it's dead silence, and then you hear the phone ringing really loud. I remember watching that in the movie theater. And it just makes you jump, kind of. The rest of the movie isn't that scary. I don't think Leatherface looks like the original guy at all. He's kind of different, and he's just tall, like 6'5", kind of makes him look scary. But other than that, he's not really scary. He's just kind of like a cartoon character in this one, or a comic book character. Like I said, they got the women's makeup thing going on. They got him listening to a Jimmy Cracks Corn and I Don't Care record while he's sewing the skin mask into his face. That was kind of bizarre. So the vigilantes are still around. Leatherface manages to dispatch all of her friends. There's a Hispanic-looking friend with fake boobs and stuff, fake butt. She likes to shake it a lot in her tiny shorts. She's pretty hot, actually. I mean, she looks like a porn star. Don't know what she's doing in this movie, but she's a lot better looking than the white chick, the Sawyer chick. So the Sawyer manages to escape Leatherface somehow. Miraculous escape. She ends up in the carnival where Leatherface throws his chainsaw at the cop, who actually happens to be the vigilante's son, but we don't learn that until later. And there's a really corny scene at the end where she tosses the chainsaw to her cousin Jeb Leatherface, and she says, "Do your thing, cuz." So by this time, she's at the police station. Again, the cop is inexplicably being overprotective of Jeb, not allowing anybody to go inside the house, or not allowing him to be shot while he's killing somebody. Don't know why or what kind of police corruption is going on, but it's pretty cool how they portray cops in this movie. Anyways, yeah, they're not serving and protecting in this one. It's just the gung-ho vigilantes going after Leatherface, basically, while the Keystone cops take a nap and drink coffee and eat donuts, basically. So the Keystone cops leave all the evidence of what happened on August 19th, 1974 on the table. But apparently it's not 1974, it's more like 1994, according to this girl's age. So you just see the August 19th, you don't see the 1974 in the newspaper. when the vigilantes blew up the Sawyer house. Now the Sawyers, they used to work in a meat packing plant, so it's kind of ironic that that she's a butcher as well at a grocery store. Kind of adds to the storyline a bit. Anyways, I guess they really like their jobs, and now they're into cutting up humans. That's the whole reasoning behind their twisted, demented behaviors, I guess. But Leatherface is just retarded, so that's his excuse. Like I said, this movie's nuts. Anyways, so Leatherface kills the cops. Of course, you know, a gun is no use against Leatherface because he'll just like sneak up behind him with a hook or something that you've seen 100 times. He hooks one of the guys, and the hot-looking fake boobs babe, she's like stuck in the refrigerator or the freezer. She's still alive. The cop opens it up. She screams, and the cop shoots her. That's kind of amusing. Like I said, lots of Keystone Cops, questionable behavior by the police in this. The vigilante's fed up. He decides he's going to use the Sawyer girl as bait for Leatherface to come to the meatpacking plant. By this time, the Sawyer girl thinks that the vigilantes are murderers, and she's becoming more connected to her family, so to speak. Leatherface is about to chainsaw her at the meatpacking plant, but then he discovers the Sawyer scar that her mother had on her chest. Of course, she's got her shirt open, but you can't see her nipples. Just big time fake boobs cleavage. Leatherface has a chainsaw right up against her chest. Then he sees the scar. He starts having second thoughts. He uses a chainsaw to cut her ropes, and he takes off her duct tape gag. Then there's a final battle scene between Leatherface and the vigilante, and wouldn't you know, the Sawyer girl decides to help her cuz. Do your thing, cuz. Oh man, what a bizarre ending. And then you hear the girl reading the Iris's letter to her. Oh, this is your real name, and you're like, whoop-de-doo. You don't really see the ending though until the very end of the rolling credits. They inserted another scene at the end, which was kind of cool. Yeah, there's a little bit of dark humor in this one, not too much, but pretty cool flick. Overall, I'm giving it 5 out of 5 stars. I don't know. I've never seen the trailer. I don't know if I can find it on YouTube, but I know that the movie's available on YouTube for like $2.99 or something. I'll post that in the description box. I'll try to look for a trailer, but there's nothing on this disc other than the movie and a bunch of trailers of other Lionsgate movies. Okay, all horror movies. So yeah, some of the more modern horror movies trailers are on this disc. Pretty cool disc, but not enough bonus features in my opinion. Just a movie and a bunch of trailers. I mean, come on. Can you put a little more effort into it? Still, I'm giving this one 5 out of 5 stars. Highly recommended. Check it out later.